All right, you guys should be able to hear me now. Can you guys hear me now? Am I good? All right. So bring it in again. Shalom. I want to give all praise to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to all the brothers, and of course the few sisters who are pursuing this truth and sincerity. Now, this Egyptologist is on Sarnet's page right now, debating the validity of the prophecies, the blessings, and the curses in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. His stance is that, well, archaeologists and scholars, they're saying that this text was written, this Hittite, these Egyptian and Assyrian texts were written before Deuteronomy. And look at the similar writing structures. That must mean the Deuteronomy was somewhat plagiarized, and it's not a list of blessings and curses, but it's more of a, what did he say? What's the word he used? He said it's a treaty and a contract between nations, which is is not true. And then when you go look at the time periods of what scholars have found, and I don't really put stake in anything this devil says anyway. Prophecy is truly what separates the scriptures from anything else, because you can actually see these prophecies happening in real time. This thing is faith, and you have to be given the eyesight to even see it. So there's no point of even debating. There's no point in debating somebody who hasn't been given the gift of faith, who hasn't been given the eyesight, because you can tell, you can show. Look what happened to us. Is not it written? And look how the great detail in which it is written. Does not this fit us? They'll wave it off. They'll make an excuse in their own head to why, that doesn't make sense. Okay, but let me go here. I got some screenshots on my phone. He said, look at the similar structures. Now, let me say this: when he got on there and he started bringing out his sources, when he showed the similar writing structure, he didn't use Deuteronomy 28. He used Deuteronomy the 13th chapter. And the text from the Esarhaddon that he was using, they had similar writing structures. You're talking about people that live in the same area, that barter and trade with one another, that are going to share what similar, because why? They live in the same area, man. That's like saying, we're the same people as the Americans, because we're just as like we're all Americans, just because, and that's the nation we are through bloodline, because we all have this similar vernacular or the same clothing, or the way we write things down It's similar. This doesn't make sense, but he used this. And he's saying, oh, well, look at the similar writing structure. So it must be plagiarized. But he never actually went into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, where the prophecies get very specific to a particular people. Okay? So let's go to Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. No, they got new options on StreamYard. Okay. Actually, let's go here. Share it on the screen there. All right, so we're in Deuteronomy 28. And I'll say this is a contract, but with Israel, the Most High, and with the nation of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It tracks a bloodline. With the writings, the Egyptology, and all that stuff, it doesn't track a bloodline or a family of people. It's not between a specific God. It's not a contractual agreement. He also used the term, well, sometimes kings were referred to as God. Not in this text, man. The Bible is tracking the beginning of creation, a chosen seed line, and what state they would be in to this very day. All right, now you go to Deuteronomy 28 here. So yeah, we'll read verse 1, then we'll jump to verse 15, and then from 16 on down, it starts to get specific to a particular people. All right, Deuteronomy 21, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Okay? The Lord setteth up kings and taketh them down. Okay? Jump to verse 15. All right? But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken. So this is the ultimatum. This is the real contract, right? But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So now when you start going through, the curses, let me jump down here. You get to verse 36. It says what? The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. Now here, during that, when this was written, after they were delivered out of Egypt, what nation in that area was unknown to Israel? And what captivity, before we were taken into America, did Israel go into that they didn't know that nation or never heard of them? Questions. A lot of questions. Now we go to verse 48. It says, therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So when a nation is in this state, they don't have any sovereignty, right? The Lord so they're depending on their oppressors for everything. And there were different captivities that we went to where we may have been in this state. But here in America, man, it's this curse is definitely at its peak. Okay. Deuteronomy 28:49, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. And we know what nation in the scriptures is referred to as the eagle. That's the symbol that they uses. They feel like they're the eagle. They feel like they're above all the other creatures of the earth, and they look down. They're proud. And we know that in Jeremiah 50, what nation of people that the Lord calls the most proud? That's Esau, Edom. Okay, Deuteronomy 28:49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fly, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Now I'm pretty sure you guys know the common languages in the so-called Middle East or around Israel in that area during that time. Was there a language that was just Israel never encountered? A language that we did never encounter, okay, when we were taken into this captivity was the English. Okay. Now we jump down to 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward his wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. Now I did a lesson maybe about 6 months back. The statistics for the so-called black man here in America, they say it's upwards towards what it was like 53%. That's the number they gave when they took the census of how many children in our community grow up without their biological father in the home. Might have been higher than that. Might have been 60. I think for the Latino, for the brown, which we know that it's the Northern Kingdom, for them it was like 45-50%, and I think for us it was like 10% higher. I think for the Southern Kingdom it was like 10% higher. There's no other nation where those numbers even come close to that. There's no other nation on the face of the planet that the numbers of the father not being in the home or the discord within the family is that high. It can be measured. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord, again, the Lord has to give you faith. He has to give you that gift of faith. He has to give you the eyesight to even see this for it to resonate with you. That you have niggas who they don't see any glory in what the Lord has given them. They'll rather go be Hamites. And we Hamites, man, that shit is dead, bro. Ain't nobody, nobody's flocking onto that. I remember I think about it. I put up an old picture of me and Elder Nazi Zakba, and he's on the comment board. Shalom, Elder. When we were in Pittsburgh, man, we had an Egyptologist dude come up, man, and didn't have a clue, especially in regards to prophecy. Didn't have any solution to, well, how do we get out of this state? Clearly, we're a cursed people. Clearly, we've been systematically kept at the bottom. Clearly, the nations have made a tumult against us, an agreement to keep us in this position. How do we win? Where's the answers in Egyptology on how we win, how we get out of this? No answers. You see? No, not an answer at all. But in the Bible, an answer is given. Not only is an answer given, but we're promised many things, man. And it's written out, and we see them playing out. It talks about the state of the world. What's going to be the state of the world? Prophecies all throughout the Bible, which is why we're focusing in. So, I forgot the name. What group was it? It's the One Body. Oh, they talking about war. Well, yeah, nigga, we supposed to be watching for the prophecies. One of the prophecies in the Bible is World War III, and the location of where that war would take place is also given in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, in the Iran area, the coast of Iran. So prophecy is what we're supposed to be occupied in. Egyptologists and these other Israelite groups, man, they want to separate from prophecy. Prophecy is our trump card. It's truly prophecy is our trump card, because there's no other book or text you can go to where it gives detailed prophecies about our people, about the world, and how it's going to play out in great detail, especially, I'm going to say it again, in regards to us. Brother Amariah puts up Sirach 34:16. It says, "For the eyes of the Lord are upon them that love him. He is their mighty protection and strong stay, a defense from heat." Put that up. A defense from heat, and a cover from the sun at noon, a preservation from stumbling, and a help from falling. All right. So this is our defense. If the Lord is giving you the eyesight to see the separation between this understanding and all the other BS in the world, man, hey, blessings unto you. Continue to read and focus and offend less, so that you may receive salvation, man, because it's the only way you're going to be delivered out of the calamities that's coming upon the earth. Right? Seeking righteousness, seeking meekness, so that you may be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. All right. Again, Deuteronomy 28:54, it says, "So the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother," okay, "and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. Okay. The tender and delicate, this is verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole or the foot up upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be equal toward the husband of her bosom and toward her son and her daughter. Okay. And like I said, this can be measured in the amount of, you look at the Israelite families, the father not being there, single parent homes, the divorce rate. People aren't even getting married anymore. But just the fact that children are not around both parents, both of the parents that, the father and the mother, they're not around, is a rare thing. Okay. Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom and toward her son and toward her daughter. And then when you look at the abortion rates, okay, the Israelite woman is vastly above any other nation of women. So when you go into these properties and you measure it using numbers, using facts, it can be measured and be like, oh well, in all these categories and all these things that the scriptures are mentioning, there's a people who stand out far more than any other people on earth. All right, Deuteronomy 20:64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other. Okay, now just stopping there. During the transatlantic slave trade, okay, we were sent into every nation. All the whole world benefited off of that trade. It was a booming time for all the economies of the earth when Israel went into captivity this last go round. Now, when you look at, and I try to say this in a way where they don't flag me, if you look at the small hats, when they had you know, their situation in Germany, were they scattered into all the nations of the earth? And even going before, the transatlantic slave trade, once you really know who they, we've been being scattered for a long time, man, going out to all those different captivities. But especially the most recent event, this transatlantic slave trade, we've been scattered everywhere, man. When did the small hats, that lineage of people, that bloodline of people, when can you document in this time, in a recent time, that they were scattered amongst all the nations? And not only scattered, let's continue to read, and there thou shalt serve other gods, where they were forced to serve other gods. When we got here, another language was beaten into us. We had to serve Cesare or be put to death, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Right? And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither, and everywhere the small hats go, they thrive. They have their own communities. They're taught economics from a small age, man, and entire families basically own entire cities because they're into the banks. They're in all the facets of how the society functions, man. They own everything. They own all the media. They own it. They own the news stations. They own all the information that you get and receive. Does this fit them? Because we know that also these curses would be on Israel until the return of the Lord. That these curses would be upon this nation of people until the Lord came back. And we know that we go to Revelation, the Lord said, and there shall be no more curse. So the curse is going to be taken off upon his return. Which is more, proof that, man, these people are a fool if you're disregarding the son. But now we'll get into these niggas that are more concerned with clout than salvation. Not gonna get into it with them right now. But Deuteronomy 20:65 again, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind, man, because you never know if things are, you're living from check to check. You get pulled over by the police, your heart about to pop out your chest because you don't know if this damn Edomite is gonna be afraid or just looking for a reason to shoot down a Israelite that day. All right, and it goes in that in verse 66. But let's go to 68. Okay, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now this is why it's important to go into prop. You got to think, go to Deuteronomy 6 and 12. You know that Egypt here represents bondage. Okay, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee, Thou shalt see it no more again. Okay, and we know we went in. We're the only people upon the earth that went as a the whole nation. Millions of us went into captivity on ships, not trains. Ships. Thou shalt see it no more. They never went back to the homeland again. And we know that we wouldn't go back to our homeland again until the Lord places us back, Isaiah 14. And on top of that, like it says in Revelation, and then there should be no more curse. So these curses don't get taken off until the return of the Son, man. And shall see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies. 25:35. Sold. Sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, meaning to redeem you, meaning to get you out of that situation. Because the ancient custom back then was if a relative was sold into captivity, you could buy them back. Nobody redeemed us out of that situation. Nobody was able to stand up and deliver us out of this situation. That glory, that heroic act is preserved for one, and that's the Son. All right, get that. All right, so this is Revelation. Let me get it here. This is Revelation. Let me share the screen once more. Yeah, Revelation 22:3. It says, "And there shall be no more curse." All right, and there shall be no more curse, but the throne of God and the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. So upon once these nations, these mountains and hills are cast down, and upon the Son's head are those many crowns representing that he has dominion over the earth. That's when there's going to be what? No more curse, man. And at the end of the day, man, it's all boils down to the Lord giving you that faith, because he's the one that opens the door. Somebody gets to understand it or close it so that they don't get it. It was bestowed unto him. For by grace ye are saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is a gift of God. So faith is a gift given. Not everyone is given that gift. Okay, which is why we don't really bug out or trip out if we're trying to break it down to somebody. They don't get it. They don't get it. We moving on. They didn't receive the gift. They weren't invited to the party. Simply put. All right. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's far out to sit here and think. And to a carnal nigga, man, you can see if they haven't been given that gift, you can see, man, oh, they're not even equipped to understand this or believe it. They can't see it. They haven't been given that gift to even comprehend or realize, whoa, these prophecies did happen. They are playing out. That epiphany that you had before you came into the truth, where you were like, man, something's off. There has to be a reason why shit is. There's no way. It's something. It's something. It's something. There's a higher power at work that put us in this situation. You had that epiphany before you came into this thing. The Lord put that spirit on you. Then you ran across the brothers, whether you're on a unicorn or on the highways and byways, and it was a breath of fresh air. Oh, this is why. This makes sense. But they want you to cling on to all these other vain philosophies that do not have an answer on how we are delivered out of this situation. That do not have an answer on how we win. They just want to survive from day to day or have a piece of this devil's kingdom. A little small little spot in the corner, a little seat at the table, a piece of the pie. You want a piece of pie, slice of bread. No, those who've been given or endowed with the gift of faith, we want the bakery. We want the whole thing. Because the word we know that the world was made for our sakes, pursuing the second Esdras, the 6th chapter, 54 on down. All right. It's James 1, and we'll start at 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith. And we know that faith is not given to everybody. Nothing wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. And Sarnetta, man, sometimes he seems like he a believer, and some things he knows to be true, but then he still wants to cling on to that Egyptology bullshit, man. He's a double-minded man. Verse 7. For let not that for let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Somebody who's going to be irresponsible with this gift, it won't be given to him. Like the scriptures say, wisdom cannot dwell in a malicious soul. All right. It's not gonna, so yeah, man, the whole argument basically in a nutshell that the Egyptologist on Sarnetta's page was using was, oh, look at the dates of the text. Nigga, let's get into the prophecy. Are not these prophecies specific to us? And if it's not specific to us, who else do these prophecies fit? And he in the beginning of his dissertation, he also brought up, and they also Hebrew Israelites teach that Esau's the white man. That's what it really boils down to for you motherfuckers. You want to prove that this that Bible is not it, because we're bringing out the fact of who the enemy is, and you niggas love the enemy. That's all it really is. That's what it boils down to, man. You know. So his argument was to argue the time frames of the text, and how, oh, look at the writing structure of them, they're similar. That doesn't disannul the prophecies written within the book. There's no other book where it goes into detail of World War III, in the location where it would take place, the fashion in which it would be fought. Isaiah 9 and 5, that tells you that. You go to Zechariah, it tells you the effect that the missiles are going to have on the people's bodies. Great detail, not broad statements that can be applied to every and anybody, because this thing isn't about every and anybody. Okay, so yeah, man, I seen that. I said, "These motherfuckers, man." So I said, "Make it quickly. I need something to talk about. Let me get on here and talk about it." Yeah. So with that being said, man, Lord willing, something was said, or whoever comes and watches it, it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Make it plain, the water for the precepts on the comment board. Yeah, man. They add to those who are sincere and they want to come. It's a big help. So with that being said, I'm gonna give all praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Kadash. I'm gonna give double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I'm gonna say shalom to all the brothers and of course the few sisters who are pursuing the truth and sincerity. Right, may the blessing of election be upon you. If the spirit jumps on me to remember some other points, because I know some other stuff I want to go into, I just can't remember right now. But I'll make a part two if it comes back to me. So with that being said, man, shalom.